Pew Research has some new numbers out about belief in God, and I think they're absolutely fascinating. So the chart here says, do you believe in God or not? Yes, 80%. No, 19%. But then they break it down more. Do you believe in God as described in the Bible? 56% say yes. That number is so stunningly high. 23% believe in some other higher power or spiritual force. And then among the no's, look at this. 9% do believe in some higher power, even though they don't believe in God. And then 10% do not believe in any higher power or spiritual force. So the thing that's most striking there to me is that 56% believe in God as described in the Bible. That's wild. Or actually, I think it's 56% of the 80% that believe in God. Believe in the God as described in the Bible. I mean, you would think that the factual inaccuracies in the Bible might turn people off to thinking that is literally correct, but apparently to these people, no. Here are more findings. About half, 48% of U.S. adults believe God determines what happens to them most or all of the time. What? So half of the adults in the U.S. say God determines what happens to them most or all of the time. I mean, there's no basis for that at all. Nearly 8 in 10 U.S. adults think God or a higher power has protected them, and 2/3 of Americans say they have been rewarded by the Almighty. At the same time, fewer see God as judgmental and punitive, with just 4 in 10 saying they have been punished by the deity in which they believe. Younger adults, though those under the age of 50, are less inclined than older Americans to believe in a biblical God and more likely to say they don't believe in any higher power or spiritual force. While roughly 2/3 of older adults say they believe in the biblical God, just 49% of those in their 30s and 40s, and just 43% of adults under 30 say the same. Even with this age gap, an overwhelming majority of the youngest adults continue to believe in God or a higher power. 8 in 10 of those age 18 to 29 say they believe in at least some kind of spiritual force. Democrats and those who lean toward the Democratic Party are less likely to say they believe in God, in the God of the Bible, than Republicans and Republican leaners. So 45% of Democrats believe in the God of the Bible. 70% of Republicans believe in the God of the Bible. And then they also say that Democrats are more likely to say they don't believe in any deity at all, but it's only 14%. And only 5% of Republicans say they don't believe in any deity at all. So, the point of this segment is, if you think things are obvious to you, they could be obvious to you, but they're not obvious to other people necessarily. And on the religiosity front, I think we're losing the battle overall. Now, we have been inching in the right direction in terms of people becoming less religious and not believing in God, but the numbers are still overwhelming in favor of God and in favor of some, whatever higher spiritual force. I mean, that's just weird to me. Now, I think there are some people who probably say they believe in it, but they don't, because they're saying the thing that they think people want them to say. They think their parents want them to say it, and society wants them to say it, and that's what people view as a good person. So, yeah, I believe in God, sure. I think some of them are in that category, but obviously we can't quantify it, and we don't know the exact number. But even if a lot of those people exist, I still think that the numbers are kind of overwhelming against non-religious people and atheists and agnostics, and that's kind of sad. I mean, because my whole thing is what's true. What does the evidence say? And when so many people are willing to believe in, magical thinking, kind of delusional, buying into something that has no evidence to it, I really do wonder what other implications that has in terms of how thoroughly they're thinking in other areas. And the answers are kind of scary and not good.